What's up, beautiful people? In today's video, I'm going to walk you through the 4 phases to scale your high ticket offer to $100,000 a month in 2026 without sales calls. If you're stuck between $20,000 and $50,000 a month and everyone keeps telling you to hire more sellers, book more calls, build a sales team, that advice is exactly why you're still stuck. My name's Chin Gregory, and my agency and consulting business has made millions of dollars using the sales call model. And I personally have been on over 600 sales calls, and my conversion rate is between 40 and 50%. So I don't have anything against the sales call model per se, but in 2023, I stopped doing sales calls. And over the next 11 months, I enrolled 64 clients into my $16,000 coaching program. 72% of them paid in full, no setters, no closers, no sales team, no Zoom calls, just DMs and a system for converting those DMs into sales on autopilot. And later on in this video, in phase 3, I'm actually going to show you the exact system that I use in my DMs, and I'm going to give you a DM script as well. Now, before anyone jumps into the comments and says, oh, well, sales calls work because I know this person that makes millions of dollars using sales calls. When I say without sales calls, I'm not saying it because sales calls don't work. I'm saying it is because if you're under $100,000 a month, right, sales calls are a tax that you don't need to be paying. Sales calls come with a cost, and there's a better model that you can use to get to $100,000 a month that doesn't require sales calls and makes the whole thing completely optional. And that model has 4 phases. Each one of those phases removes a specific bottleneck that's keeping you stuck. Now, when all 4 phases are working, your business is completely unrecognizable. For me personally, this was my calendar in 2023, and this is my calendar today. The main difference is I'm not spending 3 to 5 hours every single day on sales calls. Additionally, all of my expenses, my rent, my team, my operations, even my ad spend, all of that is collected in the first 7 days. So it removes all of like the stress of worrying, how many leads am I getting in? Is my pipeline full? I even went on vacation recently, and for the very first time, my wife absolutely loved this, but I didn't even bring my phone, I didn't bring my laptop, and I wasn't stressing out worrying about where the clients were coming from because the entire system I built was bringing clients in on autopilot whether I was working on it or not. And so there's 4 phases in the system. That's what we're going to build today. So let's dive into phase 1. Phase 1 is your offer. And I know that sounds basic, but it's not in the way that you're thinking. You see, you probably already have an offer, but the problem is that your offer is attracting the wrong people. Here's what most coaches and educators don't realize. Your offer isn't just what you sell, it acts as a filter. If you pick the wrong offer, you're going to get the worst type of clients, like the absolute worst. You're going to get tire kickers, you're going to get squeezed on price, and you're going to be working with people that need hand-holding at every single step. Whereas if you pick the right offer, you can charge way more money, your ads work better, you scale faster, your emails make more money. Everything good or bad about your business is downstream from the offer. And so here's where most people mess up. They pick an offer that targets the wrong type of buyer. And you're going to hear me talk about this concept a lot in this video and a lot over all of my content, because there are 2 classes of buyers. We have whales and we have fish. And I'm going to break them down for you. Now, most of us have seen this meme where we've got the $500 client versus the $50,000 client. Well, this kind of represents the difference between what it's like dealing with fish versus dealing with whales. But it goes deeper than just how much money they spend. Let me kind of break some of this down for you. Fish, they drain you, okay? These are the clients that take away all your energy. They're skeptical of everything. They need mountains of proof and testimonials and reviews before they even consider buying. They have tons of objections. They need to think about it. They want to speak to their wife. They want guarantees. They want payment plans. They want reassurance that this is going to work for them in their specific situation. And even if they do buy, which for most people is like 20 to 30% of the time, they're high maintenance. They need more support. They need more check-ins. They need more of your time. They literally need you to drag them across the finish line just to get results. When you compare that to whales, okay, whales are your dream clients. These are people that understand your value. They don't need to see 50 testimonials. They don't need a guarantee. They don't need 3 calls on a payment plan. If they believe that you can help them, okay, if they believe that you can solve their problem, they buy. And once they're in, they execute very fast. They don't need hand-holding, and they're some of the best clients to work with. They're an absolute joy. If I looked into your DMs or your last 20 applications and booked calls, which type is showing up more often? Are you getting more fish or you get more whales? Now, if the answer is fish, let me just show you what exactly that's costing you. It's not just the tire kickers who waste your time. When your offer attracts fish, you can't raise your prices, your conversions are lower, and every single sale is a fight. But here's something else that a lot of people don't realize, is that fish repel whales. When a whale looks at your offer and they see you giving guarantees, they see you offering discounts, they see testimonials from people that they don't think that is on their level, they just assume that your offer and you as a business owner aren't for them. And so what that means is that the fish just don't pay you less. Having fish in your business actually costs you the clients that you could have had, which are the whales. And later on in this video, I'm actually going to show you an example of when this actually happened to me on a sales call, and it nearly cost me a $56,000 deal. So here's how you fix it. Okay, you want to ask yourself 2 questions. Firstly, who has the highest ROI for what you do? Okay, Take your services, take your experience, take what you do. Who has the highest ROI for that? And the second question is, which is a kind of play on the first one, who would get the best results from your experience and expertise? The answers to those two questions, those are the whales in your market. And you don't need to build a new offer, right? You just need to reposition the one that you already have to speak to them directly. That's exactly how I was able to increase the price of my e-commerce coaching program from $5,800 to $16,000 and actually get more clients at the higher price. Melissa is one of my consulting clients. She's an awesome girl. She's based out of New York and she's a fashion stylist and home shopper. She helps people like sort out their wardrobes. And before we started working together, she was charging $200 per hour. And so one of the very first things that we do, and I do this with all my clients and I do this with any offer that I'm working on, is that we look to the offer and we ask the question, who has the highest ROI for what she does? And it turns out that for her particular offer, that was New York socialites and high-powered female execs. Think of the type of woman that spends $10,000 to $15,000 on a dress that they're only going to wear once, or like $30,000 on a handbag. Well, we changed her offer to cater for that crowd, and now she charges $15,000 per engagement plus 10% of all the clothes that she sources. Another one of my consulting clients is Danny, and he was a dog trainer and breeder charging $500 to $1,200 for a weekend class for pet owners. So you take your dog to his weekend class, and if your dog is like peeing on the rug or chewing up all the toys, he will help fix your dog's behavior. And so on one of our coaching calls, I got this idea because I live in a pretty wealthy area in the UK, and I noticed a lot of the houses had these really expensive, regal looking guard dogs. So I said to Danny, like, with what you do, could you do that for like guard dogs or security dogs? Like, I don't know anything about dog training or dog breeding. And credit to him, he was like, yeah, I could definitely do that. That sounds like a great idea. And he went away and restructured part of his offer to focus specifically on security dogs and professional guard dogs. He now has a package that's $180,000 where he'll either breed or source and then train professional guard dogs and then place them at the houses of really wealthy people, professional athletes, and celebrities. Now, I could share dozens more examples for you, but the point is that these offers didn't really change. Same skill set, same level of experience, it's just who the offer was for. And that's the power of position your offer of whales. But here's what I keep seeing happening, right? Somebody builds the perfect whale offer, premium price, dream clients, clean positioning, and then they go and post content that repels the exact buyer that offer was designed for. And what happens is their DMs still end up full of fish. The applications still have tire kickers and they can't figure out why. At this point, the offer isn't the problem anymore, it's the bait. And that's what leads us to phase two. Phase two is your content. And if you're being honest, this might be where things aren't clicking. Because you're posting, you're showing up, but you're still getting DMs of people just asking about your price, messaging you, then ghosting, too many people who engage but never buy, too many followers that like, maybe even comment, tell you how great you're doing, but they watch everything you're doing, but they never actually pay you for anything. Here's what's probably happening. Your content is likely attracting fish, even if your offer is built for whales. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of examples in just a sec, but it's not a consistency problem. It's not an effort problem. It's not how much content you're putting out there. It's a content type problem. It's the type of content that's the issue. And this comes down to a concept called fish bait versus whale bait. I learned this from a guy called J.K. Molina. You're posting fish bait where you should be posting whale bait. And you're doing it because that's what every single Instagram and YouTube growth guru tells you to do, right? You've probably seen it all over your feed if you've ever spent even a minute on Instagram. Viral hooks, GPT scripts, engagement hacks, the kind of stuff that gets likes, gets shares, and maybe even goes viral from time to time, but it doesn't bring in buyers. Think about your last 20 posts, your last 30 posts. If a whale was scrolling through your feed, how many of those posts would make that whale stop and say, that's the guy I need to work with. That's the girl I need to work with. I want to hire that person right now. One, maybe a couple. And that's why this whole content thing feels like you're swimming uphill, because you're consistent, you're showing up, but it's just not converting into the type of clients that you want. But it gets worse, right? Every time you post fish bait, you train your audience to see you as a free resource or a value resource instead of a paid solution. They come to you for free answers. They come to you for value. They watch everything you post. And then when you pitch something, they're like, well, why should I buy that when this person already gives everything away for free? So when you do that, you end up building an audience that applauds you but doesn't pay you. So the fix isn't to post more. It's to post different. You need to shift from fish bait to whale bait. And here's the difference. Fish bait teaches you information, okay? How-tos, the stuff that anybody can get from ChatGPT in 30 seconds. Whereas whale bait teaches insight, pattern recognition, the stuff that only comes from actual experience of you having done the thing. Fish bait attracts people who are just getting started and just want some shortcuts, whereas whale bait attracts people who are already in motion and want better results. So whale bait is people who are already in motion and they want better results. Fish bait sounds like how to make $10,000 a month as an email marketer, whereas whale bait sounds like 13 story formulas for high converting emails. Let me show you a few more examples so you can really feel the difference. How to lose 18 pounds without working out versus macronutrient cheat sheet for all 4 body types. How to get any girl to text you back. Why high value women lose interest after the 3rd date. How to go viral on Instagram versus content frameworks that build audiences who actually buy. How to take amazing photos with your iPhone versus lighting setups for movie quality shoots. Can you start to see a little bit of the difference? Do you know what the worst part about this all is? The fish bait is probably getting more engagement. And that's what makes this trap so dangerous. You think it's working because the likes are up, the views are up, the vanity metrics are up, but the number of clients don't match. Like, be honest, how much of your content right now looks like fish bait versus how much of it looks like whale bait? Whales don't need more information, right? They already got a lot of information. They need somebody who sees their problem and clearly knows how to solve them. And that's what whale bait does. It doesn't go viral, right? It doesn't get like 1,000 likes, but it gets 5 whales in your DMs asking, hey, 10K for your program, when can we get started? Now, here's where it gets interesting. You can have all the whale attention in the world and still lose the sale. And honestly, this is where I see most of the money getting left on the table. Whales show up, they're ready to buy, but then something in the conversion process kills the sale. And that's what we're going to fix in phase 3. Phase 3 is all about closing without sales calls. And here's something that might sting a little bit. As you sit here watching this right now, there are people following you today who are ready to pay you. Not in 6 months, not after they consume more content. They're ready right now. But they're not going to. They're not going to pay you. And it's not because your offer isn't good. It's not because you're not good at what you do. And it's not because they don't trust you. It's because of what happens after they decide to actually work with you. You see, most people, they kill sales with friction. And I did this for years and I wasn't even realizing that I was doing it until I had this one call with this guy called Joe. And Joe booked in my application form and I looked at his application and it was the worst, right? You know, when it's just one word answers, doesn't look like he put any effort into it. And in my head, I'm thinking, I don't even want to do this call, right? In 12 hours time, his application doesn't look very good. This guy's going to be a complete nightmare. So I get on the call and I'm doing my normal thing, right? I'm going through the motions, I'm going through my script, and Joe just cuts me off and he goes, listen, Chin, I've already watched all of your videos. The only reason I booked this call is because I couldn't find anywhere to pay. Are you still taking on clients or are you completely full? We signed a $56,000 deal on that call. And I nearly blew it because I was just assuming that I had to take him through the sales process as I would anybody else. And that's when it hit me. The call wasn't closing him, the call was slowing him down. Here's a guy who was ready to pay, and then I made him wait. And that's what friction does to whales. They move fast, and if you put a wall in front of them, they don't complain, they don't make a fuss, they just go and pay somebody else who made it easier. Here's a way that I can illustrate it for you. Think of buyers like drivers. You got fish in the slow lane, doing 20 miles an hour, stop signs don't bother them. Whereas you got whales who are in the fast lane doing 70 miles an hour. A stop sign at 70 miles an hour is jarring. They were ready to pay, and then you made them slam on the brakes. And just like a stop sign isn't a bad thing, a call isn't a bad thing either. But for someone doing 70 miles an hour, i.e. a whale, that call is annoying, it's jarring, it slows them down. And so what we want to do is we want to give them a sales process that matches the speed that they're operating at. And we do this with the dossier funnel. Now, what I'm about to show you is the exact system that we use, not a framework, but the actual steps. So if you want to take any screenshots of anything, this is probably going to be the best time to do it. And so there's 3 steps to the dossier funnel. Step 1 is the VSL, and this is the main piece that replaces the sales call. In 20 to 30 minutes, it does 4 things. Firstly, it shows that you understand their problem better than they do. Then it proves that you've solved this problem before. It walks through your unique method or system. And then finally, it handles objections before they think to ask. By the time they finish your VSL, they're not really comparing you to competitors. They're not asking for a call. They're looking for ways to pay. So by the end of the VSL, this person is sold and they're ready to buy. And that's when they hit step 2, which is the dossier. And the dossier is just a short doc that answers every question that the sales calls would: who it's for, what they get, how it works, price, how to start. Very important. You make sure you put the price in there. Think of it as like a decision document. They read it, they decide, then they DM you ready to pay. And then in step 3, the DM isn't for convincing, it's for logistics, right? This is where you talk to them about the start date, payment link, done. The whole process goes from interested to paid in 24 to 48 hours. Let me show you some of my DMs from before and after so you can see what actually changed in my business when I installed this. First of all, we got this guy who says he saw my ad, right, about scaling e-com stores, asked a couple of questions, I answered them, and then he leaves me on red, basically ghosts me. Then we got another guy, comes in, love your stuff, man, been following you for a minute, could I ask you a question about AOV? How many people slide into your DMs just asking you random questions about how you can help them? Now, I'm a helpful guy, so I answer these questions, and looks like he just wants to get some free information. Then we got another one. This guy comes in and he says, hey, been thinking about getting help scaling for a while. Think I'm almost ready to pull the trigger. I asked him some qualifying questions and he ends with, yeah, maybe. Let me have a couple more good months first and I'll reach out. How many times does that happen where someone just says, hey, let me get to this particular stage and then I'll hire you? Do you reckon this guy came back? We both know that he definitely never came back. And so those are what my DMs were like before installing the dossier funnel. Since installing the dossier funnel, I'm actually going to put this on the screen. Again, take a screenshot of this. I'm not going to go through this entire message, but what I do want you to look at is January 21st at 8:08, reaches out to me, hey Chin, what's your Facebook ads offer and is it done with you or done for you? You can see already that the type of question is very different. Go through some qualifying questions, which I'll leave up on the screen, and then I hit them with the price, okay? 2 days later, so this is a conversation going back and forth, $13,000 for done for you or done with you. I give them the prices, and then on January 24th at 11:29, so 3 days after they first reached out, paid, looking forward to getting started. So that was a $13,000 deal closed in the DM. And the difference is, look how much time wasters I had before the dossier funnel, and look how quickly this whale went from, hey Chin, I saw your offer, I'm interested, to I just sent you $13,000. That happened in 3 days versus all of this time wasting here. Same audience, same offer, just repositioned into a funnel that was designed for speed. Now, before we go on to the next phase, if you want the dossier funnel installed for you, me and my team will script your VSL for YouTube or a landing page, we'll write your entire dossier, and we'll even build and install a custom DM flow that closes your ideal clients on autopilot. If that sounds interesting, there's a link in the description to see if you qualify and information on the next steps. So that's phase 3, whales stay in the fast lane. And here's what I want you to think about. If you stop posting for 2 weeks, no Reels, no YouTube, no TikTok, no LinkedIn, what happens to your leads? If the answer is they dry up, then you built a business that runs on you, not for you. That's what organic only looks like. It works until you want a vacation. It works until the algorithm changes. It works until you realize that you can't take your foot off the gas without the whole thing slowing down. And you've probably already felt this. I know I have. Like that low grade anxiety that you get every Sunday night when you realize that you haven't posted enough this week and you realize that you haven't got the post lined up for the upcoming week. And that relief that you get when you post something and it performs really well, or that sinking feeling in your stomach where like you post something, you get 2 or 3 views. That's not a business, right? That is algorithm dependency just with better branding. And the scariest part of all of this, right, is that the content machine works just well enough to keep you stuck. You're making money, you're doing okay, you might be growing a little bit. So you tell yourself that, yeah, this is just what it takes. I just need to post 2 times a day, 3 times a day, make sure I'm putting out content. But you know that somewhere in the back of your mind, if you stop showing up, even for 2 weeks, the whole thing would slow down. And so that takes us to phase 4, because in phase 4, we scale systems, not hope. Organic marketing is hope marketing. It's great for building trust, but it's very dangerous as your only growth lever. You can't 10x hope. You can't leave hope running in the background and take a vacation with your family for 3 weeks. And so in phase 4, we take what's working, your offer, your content, your conversion system, and we plug it into a channel that you control. And that's what ads do, okay? Ads don't replace organic, they remove the reliance on it. Now, when I say ads, I'm not talking about dumping 10K a month and hoping for the best or hiring some overpaid agency. Most people try ads when their offer still attracts fish. But the weird thing is that when you target fish, it actually lowers your CPC and your cost per lead, but it actually increases the cost per client. So you're going to be getting really cheap clicks or you're getting really cheap leads and you think the whole thing's working, but then your cost per client is actually going up because you're filling the funnel with fish. And fish are easier to get into the funnel, but they're a lot harder to actually close. And that's why this is so dangerous. You may as well be lighting cash on fire. But when phases 1 to 3 that we've talked about are working, you can start with as little as a couple of $100 per day and scale your ads to hundreds of $1,000s every single month. Let me show you an example. So these are a couple of examples from the ad accounts of different offers that we run. And I'm just showing this to you so you can see that you don't need to spend a lot of money on Facebook ads if you are targeting whales and if you've got good creative. And we can talk about creative in another video. But you can see here, we're really only spending about $3,000 a month, so about $100 a day. And we've generated over $80,000 on this particular offer at a 12x return on ad spend. Let me show you another one. On this offer, unfortunately, the niche is really small, so we're trying to figure out ways that we can actually spend more because as you can see, we're getting almost a 25x return on our ad spend. Now, obviously, I'm showing you 2 of our best performing offers. I'm not saying that you are going to get any type of results like this when you start running ads straight out the gate. But when you have a premium offer, when you are targeting whales, scaling results and scaling revenue with ads becomes very predictable and it becomes something that you can control. So it's not one or the other. It's not ads or organic. Organic keeps doing what it does, right? Building trust, attracting whales, but paid ads is like giving you a dial. You want 10 more clients this month? Just turn the dial up. You're not waiting for the algorithm. You're not hoping something goes viral. You decide how many people see your stuff. You decide when you get clients. You decide when you scale. And that's the difference between $30,000 a month coaches versus $100,000 a month coaches. A $30,000 a month coach scales effort. More posts, more calls, more hours, where $100,000 coaches scale systems. Same effort, but more output. When you control acquisition, okay, you stop reacting and you start deciding. How much more money do you want to make this month? You pick the number, the system delivers it. But it only works when phases 1 to 3 are solid. Whale offer, whale bait, dossier funnel. Without those, ads just accelerate how quickly you lose money. So here's what I want you to understand. This isn't just about making more money without sales calls. It's about becoming a different kind of business owner. The $30,000 a month business owner, they're reactive, okay? They're chasing leads. They're hoping for good months. Whereas the $100,000 coach, the $100,000 a month business owner, they decide how much money do they want to make this month? Who do they get to work with? When do they work? These 4 phases that we've gone through today, that's what makes this possible. That's what made it possible for me and made it possible for my consulting clients who I've installed this for. Now, everything I've showed you today works. The question is just whether you want to spend 6 months doing it yourself or whether you want to get help installing this into your business. And that's how me and my team help. Now, obviously, you could build all this by yourself, but most people who say they will, they won't. And it's not because they don't know what to do. I've kind of laid out a blueprint for you, but it's because 6 to 12 months of trial and error is hard enough when you're already running a business. So what me and my team will do is we'll install this entire system into your business in just 14 days. My team of copywriters, content strategists, ad specialists, tech, the same people who've generated tens of millions of dollars for my offers, for my clients' offers, we plug them directly into your business and we'll build your premium well offer or optimize an offer that you already have. We'll script your VSL, write your dossier, install your DM scripts, and even install your ad system. Plus, you also get one-on-one support and access to me, unlimited coaching calls whenever you need it, just to make sure that after we've installed everything, it runs perfectly and maybe help you optimize it as well. The link is in the description if you want to get more information about how we can help. Click it, see if you qualify, and then we'll take it from there. And as promised, I also put in the description links to the dossier funnel and DM script so you guys can model it for yourselves. So that's the system that will take you to $100,000 months without sales calls in 2026. Go ahead and build it or let us build it for you. Either way, I hope you got value from the video. My name's Chin Gregory. God bless, take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.